Sports fans, we are live. Welcome to the Sports Behavior Podcast. I'm your host, OG the Beast. Here with me, as always, Uncle Chilltown 32. Unc, how you running today?
Good, man. I'm watching your boys about to get served by Milwaukee tonight, but it's actually a good game, but
Yeah,
it's running good.
it was halftime last time I looked at it, and it was like they had like a 7-point lead, 6-point lead, some shit like that. I'm mad we took that L
now,
to
though.
Atlanta yesterday, though. Or a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
It might have been yesterday, a couple of days ago. I'm mad about that L, man. I'm mad about that L. Dubs in the chat, if you can hear us loud and clear. Let us know if we coming in loud and clear. It's Barbershop Fridays. Y'all know how we get down. Sit back, chill, relax. The barbershop is wide open. Like Unc always say, you ain't got to get your hair cut.
Come through, man.
Just come through, chop it up.
Come through. We got the checkerboard over here. We got the chessboard over here. Come sit down. Come hang out. Barbershop is something like a country club for us.
Right.
It's kind of what it is. It's like a country club for us, man. Come in, come hang out. Let's chop it up a little bit. So that's what we do on Friday nights, man.
No doubt.
That's no doubt. That's what we do.
I always enjoy myself, on Barbershop Fridays. It's more of a chill, laid-back show. We get to talk some basketball. A lot of shit been going on. I want to get to a lot of spicy takes and a lot of the conversation. We both in the TikTok community. It's a lot of trends, a lot of things that's been fringe conversations, kind of spicy, but it's like, does it really make sense? Like, for instance, right, one of the biggest topics that's been floating around lately, not only in the TikTok community, but in the NBA community in general, wherever I go, whether it's ESPN, any social media network, any sports network, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, everybody's talking about Ja Morant right now. Ja Morant is on an incredible trajectory in his career at such an early age that it's like, damn, is this the best we gonna get from Ja Morant? Because when I look at young players, right, I look at when I look at their ascension and I see them have a breakout year, like it usually happens in the second, third, fourth season. By the fourth season, if you didn't have that year yet, you probably not gonna have it unless you was a raw talent like Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know what I'm saying? Unless you like that, came in the league at 18, 19. I'm not expecting nothing from you severely until like your third or fourth season. A la Kobe Bryant, a la Giannis Antetokounmpo, guys of that nature, right?
Curry.
LeBron James, Curry. LeBron being a rare exception. But Ja Morant right now is having an MVP-type season. And I look at it like, damn, this kid is playing phenomenal. But my question is, can he get better than what he's playing right now? That's what I always like to look at. Is this the best version of Ja Morant we gonna see, or can he maintain this type of consistency, or will we see a decrease, right? We've been getting this Ja Morant versus Derrick Rose conversation for a while now. Excuse me. A lot of people, when Ja came into the league, was comparing him to Westbrook. For some reasons, those have gone out the window. And I always felt like that wasn't a fair comparison. I didn't see the similarities in their game. So now people talking this Derrick Rose shit, which to me makes a bit more sense than Russell Westbrook. When it comes to this Ja Morant versus Derrick Rose comparison, do you feel it's fair? One, do you like it? Two, and how accurate is it to you in your assessment?
Well, when I look at who Ja Morant is becoming, it does look fair initially, because we're talking about a guy who he got a similar body to Derrick Rose coming in, right? We're talking about a guy about 6'2", 6'3", about 180 pounds, soaking wet. Derrick Rose wasn't a big guy coming in. Now, he plays above the rim, which is ridiculous for a guy his size. Derrick Rose played above the rim. We're talking about a guy in Derrick Rose who averaged 25 and almost 8 that MVP season. Ja is at 27-7 or 27-6.
27-6-5 for Ja Morant right now.
Now when I look at Memphis' squad, I think that Memphis squad is better than that Bulls squad.
Doubt.
I do think that Memphis squad is better than that Bulls squad. And when you talk about ascension, when you're talking about a guy on his way up, I've always felt like by year 5, whatever we're gonna get from this guy, that's it. This is what now you're gonna have some better seasons, but this is what you should expect out of this guy moving forward.
Right.
Like you saw Derrick, you saw Steph Curry in year 5, I think he was averaging 24, 7, and 6. He had some better seasons where he led the league in scoring, absolutely. But if he retired today, he averages around 24 a game, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. That's who Curry is. So I always felt like around year 5, this is what you're looking at. I don't think Ja Morant could hold up at this level if he keeps playing like this. What I mean when I say that is I look at his body type. I don't think physically he can hold up. I remember hearing Dwayne Wade say Bob McAdoo told him in year 2, unless you change your game, you're not going to hold up. You're not going to last long. So I'm looking at a guy like Ja Morant who plays above the rim, real bouncy. A lot of the injuries that he's had have been non-contact. I mean, he rolled his ankle last year. This year, he twisted his knee, and he twisted it again. And I think a lot of that has to do with Ja might still be growing into his body. He's still filling out, right? So we don't know what kind of body he's going to have. I don't think Ja can play at 200 pounds. I think that's a little too heavy for him.
Yeah, true.
But I also think that he's got to change his game. But in terms of athleticism, in terms of flight, in terms of team dynamic, I look at him just like I look at Derrick Rose. I don't look at him like I look at Russell Westbrook because his game, one, it's more of a calm chaos with him. With Russell Westbrook, it was chaos.
Right.
And it was one speed and it's
Untapped,
go.
too. Yeah, it was just.
That's it.
He had one.
Ja, that was it. And that's the only speed Russell Westbrook knows is go. And he's played like that since his inception into the game. Now, we're talking about a guy in Ja who comes from basketball royalty. You know, his father played at UConn. He played with Ray Allen. He played overseas. So he basically spoon-fed him the game. When to turn it on, when not to turn it on. So he was the most pro-ready when he came in the game that I had seen. I think he was more pro-ready than Derrick Rose when he came in the game. No doubt. The question that I have about him is he going to be able to hold up physically? I don't think that he can unless he changes his game because he's not going to be able to play on the top of the rim like that, weighing 175 pounds. Because I look at Iverson. Iverson was able to do that, but Iverson didn't play on the top of the rim like this guy.
Right.
He did not. So that's my question. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to sustain that for 5, 8, 9 years playing at that level on top of the rim with his body type.
That's fair. I mean, injuries always are going to play a factor in a guy's career, especially a young cat, especially cats that are above the rim. But here's my rebuttal to that, though. How I feel about it is, when you got guys that enter the league that play above the rim, you're always going to be more susceptible to injury. So the injury bug always floats around a guy's notion when he plays above the rim. We talked about it with Derrick Rose. We talked about it with Allen Iverson. We talk about it with Zion Williamson. Oh, can he do it at his weight, the way he plays the game? We talked about it with LeBron. LeBron's going to have to figure out how to shoot sometime in his career. We talked about it with Barkley. Barkley going to have to drop a few pounds if he's going to be playing above the rim the way he does and running the way he does. We talk about it with all of these guys that are bigger size or even the smaller guys that like to play above the rim. So I don't want to wish injury or even try to speak that into existence, with any type of player. But it is something that you have to be aware with because it's pretty consistent with history. Dominique played above the rim. He popped his Achilles. As Jordan aged, his ankles and knees got bad. You know what I'm saying?
Now remember too, we talking about a guy in Ja Morant who is light, but there are plenty of guys who play like that. Reggie Miller played at 185, 190, right? Kevin Durant ain't exactly Arnold Schwarzenegger type.
Their games are different though.
So, they don't bang. And right, they don't. That's the difference with Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller is not an above the rim kind of guy who's skipping in the lane. Kevin Durant's game is not predicated on flight and athleticism. Right. Kevin Durant, he's more of a skilled guy. When I look at Ja Morant, he diving in the rim. I'm seeing him bowing Pirtle in the face and throwing it over the top of the big man. I'm thinking, how is he going to be able to do that at 175? I don't know if he's going to be able to.
That dunk over Jakob Pirtle, as I watched that replay, I'm like, what made him want to go? Usually when somebody catch a body, it's a weak side defender. You come to the lane is open, but a weak side defender comes to try to help, boom, you get poked. Usually that's how it happens. Or a guy slides over late, boom, he catches the body. Jakob Poeltl was already in defensive position to stop the play. It made absolutely no sense for Ja Morant to try to dunk the ball. He had nowhere to go. He just said, you know what? Skip it. I'm about to go up. And he went up.
I'm climbing it. I'm climbing this mountain.
Morant,
I'm doing it.
Ja Morant is playing outside of his mind. He's averaging 27, 6, and 5 right now in comparison to Derrick Rose. 27, 6, and 5. This is why, to be honest with you, to answer my own question, I like the comparison. I think Derrick Rose comparison to Ja Morant is fair. I like the comparison. Ja's averaging 27, 6, and 5 right now. This team is the 3rd seed in the Western Conference. Harder conference. You know, you got to mention that. 3rd in the West is tough to do. Ja Morant is shooting a high 34% from three-pointer. Came in as a guy that really people didn't care about his three-point game, didn't have one, still needs to get better from beyond the arc. But 34% is not bad for a non-shooter. It's actually like pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like 39% from the field, that's great. 77% from the free throw line could be better. That ties into his overall mechanics. That ties into his shooting mechanics in general. That's why he doesn't really look for a shot. He's looking to attack the rim. He's not trying to bail you out. Now, Rose, on the other hand, 2011 MVP season, number one record in the league, which ties into why he won the award. So stop telling me LeBron should have won it. I'm not trying to hear that shit. D Rose had everything in line to win it. He had the narrative, which is top priority. He had the most winningest record in the NBA, and his stats was 25, 7, and 4 on 33%.
What was the narrative on Derrick Rose? Because the narrative you just said, what was the narrative?
The narrative on Derrick Rose was he was the number 1 pick, the kid from Chicago playing for his hometown. The league, his city is on his back. The young cat, the young new athletic point guard that we haven't seen in this league since Baron Davis. In actuality, play types like Derrick Rose come once every generation. Think about how many above-the-rim, athletically gifted point guards we've had in the history of the game. Damn the last 20 years. Guys 6'3" and under. Dominating the game the way Derrick Rose did is with his speed, his quickness, his athleticism, and he plays above the rim. You could probably only name maybe 3, 4 guys in the history of the game. History.
At that size.
At that size, right. 6'3",
yeah.
At that position, damn size. I don't care how big you are. At that position, let's just limit it.
Donovan Mitchell's
a 2.
And he played a 2 guard.
Because
I'm thinking about him. I'm thinking about him and Wade in the same, because they're about the same size, but
6'4". Wade was about 6'4". Rose is 6'3". Ja Morant's like what, 6'2", 6'3". You know, they're about the same size. But I'm talking about just at the point guard position. D Wade was a 2. Donovan Mitchell's a 2. Yep. So even though they around the same size, they better be a little bit girthier. But let's just at the position. How many above the rim, athletically gifted point guards through the history of the game have you seen that play above the rim? Baron Davis, Russell Westbrook,
Derrick Rose.
And
I'm thinking about the 90s. Nobody in the 90s played like that. Nobody in the 80s played like that. Nobody in the 70s played like that.
The buck stops there, Unc. That's what I'm saying. So to see a guy like a Derrick Rose come out the way that he did 2009.
Steve Francis played like that too.
Steve Franchise, that's a good one.
He played like that too.
He played like that too. You know, those guys are few and far between. And to be honest with you, they might be a dying breed, but if you really want to call them a dying breed, that's an understatement simply because in the history of the game, we haven't seen many of them. Maybe 4. No. You can count on one hand how many Derrick Rose type point guards you saw. And him having that notion, him being that type of player, that once-in-a-generational type of player, he had the city of Chicago on his back. He gets drafted to Cleveland, not that much pressure on him, but he's drafted to his own city. That is so much pressure to live up to when you draft it to your own city and you have to play as the number 1 pick at that.
2 years out of high school, by the way. Don't leave that part out.
Right.
I just graduated high school 2 years ago. It's not like I'm just from Chicago. Memphis. That was it. 2 years out of high school, right? So that's why when I look at Ja Morant, right, and I look at him being considered as a league MVP, that's where that differs with Derrick Rose. I can appreciate the numbers look the same, the teams, and in terms of you winning, but when I think about his team, number 1, Memphis is better. That's number one. Number two, they winning without him. And that's very important. The fact that they winning without him, I mean, I think they 10 games over 500 without Ja in the lineup. And that matters. Contrary to popular belief, that absolutely matters a lot. In fact, that's what sunk Joel Embiid last year. We're talking about a dude who missed 3 weeks. They won 7 out of 10 without him in the lineup. Had he been in the lineup, I think he would have won the league MVP. Again, I don't look at Ja like a flash in the pan.
That's another good one. Jones, Grand Jones. Plus, that was the house that Jordan built. Penny was athletic. That's a good one.
But these is big guards, though.
Yeah.
We're talking about Penny 6'7", right? Penny wasn't a 6'2" or 6'3". Penny bit of 6'7".
Agent Zero was not above the rim.
No, he was not. Agent Zero did not play above the rim. But with that being said, when I look at Ja and I look at when we're talking about league MVP, you mentioned it before, the narrative. Why am I watching Memphis? I'm going to tell you why I'm watching Memphis. The same reason why I was watching Cleveland, right? The same reason why I was watching Chicago and the same reason why I was watching the Lakers. Ja Morant. That's why. And this guy is from Memphis. He's not from Memphis, but this guy is doing what he's doing in Memphis, making them a big deal. Turns out the NBA is looking at this guy going, just like they did with Vince Carter in the early 2000s. Yo, we got to get Toronto on TV more.
Right.
We got to get Toronto on TV more. Well, the same thing that they're doing with them, they're doing that with Memphis. We got to get Memphis on TV more. The thing that I'm concerned with, and like I said, I don't want to put Ja in the category with Derrick Rose being somewhat of a flash in the pan, because I don't think he's going to be that. But my question is one, can you sustain this level of play for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years? Are you an all-time great? Are you going to be an all-time great? Right. Or are you just a guy who's just having a small run?
Yeah. That's a great question, and all I can do is hope for Ja Morant to, sustain this injury. Nobody wants to see that shit. But as far as Derrick Rose goes, the MVP in general, a lot of people get this misconstrued. They look at the numbers and they say, "Hey, this guy should be leading the MVP candidacy." Narrative matters. It might be the second most important thing when it comes to the MVP race, ladies and gentlemen. You have to pay attention to the narratives. It's not a player in the past 20 years that won the MVP without a narrative. Look at the leaders now. Number one is probably between Joel Embiid and Joker, right? What was Joker's narrative last year? He lost everything around him. He was the guy that looked like he was tired every single night. Foreign guy coming over here dominating the league, carrying the Denver Nuggets, who's been a pretty pedestrian franchise since its existence, to the playoffs and willing this team to victories almost single-handedly, losing a Porter Jr., losing a Jamal Murray. You know what I'm saying? Like inconsistencies with health throughout this entire franchise, and it's like, look at this guy's numbers and the way that he plays the game. He deserves it. Even though he kind of lucked into it, to me, by default, he won it. Because if guys would have stayed healthy, they would have got it. Now,
if Joel Embiid didn't get hurt, he would have won it.
And now look at Joel Embiid. That's part of his narrative now. If I didn't get hurt last year, I would have won it. I'm the guy that's being overlooked. I'm the guy that's got to deal with this Ben Simmons saga, and the way I'm handling it is bar none. Never disrespected the guy. I'm being 100% professional. Never complained about the lack of talent on my roster, or how guys like Tobias Harris ain't playing the way that they supposed to be playing, and how we missing a quote-unquote pivotal piece to our puzzle, and we still top 5 team in the Eastern Conference. This is what I'm doing with these numbers that I'm putting up. That moves into Joel Embiid's narrative as well. So that's his.
Take it a step further than that. Let's rewind the clock back to your man Michael Jordan in 1988. Yeah. Well, where was the All-Star game in 1988?
Cleveland, wasn't it?
Nope. Try again.
What was it?
Chicago? Right in your hometown, my man. Yes, sir. Not only was it in Chicago, who won the dunk contest?
Jordan.
Who won the All-Star game MVP?
Jordan.
Yeah, so let's keep that going, man. Who leading the league in scoring that year?
Yeah, definitely. Jordan. All of that.
It's not only is it Jordan, that team that he's on, I got a second year Scottie Pippen. Yeah. The Eastern Conference is a nightmare. And not only is the Eastern Conference a nightmare, I'm still keeping my boys. We going up against the Pistons. I'm still keeping my boys above water. I'm the best defensive player in the game. This guy is the future of the league. I know we seen Bird. I know we seen Magic,
Yep.
but we're basically coming to the end of the 80s. So this guy might be next.
Right.
In fact, this guy is next.
Yep.
There's your narrative right there. Mike, just keep doing what you're doing and you'll win it. Turns out, there you go.
And that's what happened. Even though we was the third seed in the Eastern Conference that year, he was still able to take home the award. But it's like that plays a huge factor because nothing beats a great storyline. Fans love it. The NBA loves it. MVPs have narratives. They all have narratives. You know, why are you winning? What is your adversity that you got to overcome? What are people saying about you that you're trying to prove wrong? Look at Kevin Durant when he won it. Russell Westbrook gets hurt. Can Kevin Durant lead this team to the playoffs? You know, what is OKC going to look like without their lead guard? Can Kevin Durant do it alone? Oh, he hits another game winner and another game winner. He's doing it. He's averaging 30. This year's league MVP, Kevin Durant. Followed by that, Mom, you the real MVP. It fits.
Yeah,
it all
works.
makes sense.
It works.
Like that's the
Absolutely
winning is first, narrative is second, storyline, narrative, that all. Third is just stats. People saying, I've seen the guy win it averaging 16 a night. Stats don't matter. It's narrative.
Well, they matter, but the other stuff matters more.
Right. Stats matter, but people
do matter.
What irritates me is people say this guy's averaging 35. He should be leading. No,
that's not enough, man.
Jordan averaged 37 and lost it to Magic. What the? Come on.
He averaged 37 that year.
37. Wilt averaged 50.
And Eddie was first team on defense.
Right. Too. Wilt averaged 50 and lost it to Russell. Kobe averaged 35 and lost it to Steve Nash.
That's correct. In fact, James was ahead of him that year.
Stop with this such and such is averaging this. He should win the MVP. If it wasn't for this guy, he should win. T-Mac just went on Shaq's show and said I was averaging 32 that year. And in 2003, I should have won the MVP. Shaq said, who won it? He said, Tim Duncan. They was the number one seed in the league, albeit T-Mac carried his team to the 6th, 7th seed in the league. He feels like, oh, if I wasn't on that team, we wouldn't have made the playoffs. Deservingly so. Facts. Big facts, T-Mac. You right. You did average 32, but Timmy probably averaged somewhere around 22.
He was 23, 13, and 3 blocks.
Yeah.
My 23, 13, and 3 blocks are more valuable than your 32 on a 7th-place team. Sorry.
Exactly.
Actually, I'm not sorry. That's it. That's the logic right there.
Winning matters. Winning is number one. If you're not a top 3 seed, cancel Christmas unless you Russell Westbrook. And that was a rare exception because he hadn't done something that ain't been done in over 40 years. That's what I'm saying. And the NBA paid the price for that.
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did.
So
absolutely. Yeah. No
bottom line,
and they definitely screwed up, and they recognized that early. And I'm glad that they caught that, because had they not, they would have put themselves in a world of hurt. Because now what I have to do is I got to completely change the criteria for league MVP, and we can't do that. Absolutely not. Can we do that? Because what we're doing now is we put in when we take a guy who is the league MVP. We're taking winning out of it. All we care about is if you're doing work.
Right.
And not only are we caring about if you're doing work, what we care about the most is the narrative.
Yep.
And that ain't good enough.
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
Definitely. 100% agree. But y'all need to get the criteria right. I know fans love to look at stats and try to judge that and make that the end-all, be-all when it comes to MVP, but it don't work like that. Seeding matters. Narrative matters. And of course, your stats matter. But let's talk about. I mentioned Tobias Harris in comparison to Joel Embiid and how he's not playing up to par. Tobias Harris right now, it was interesting because I was sifting through TikTok when I seen this and I decided to talk about it. I didn't believe it and I went to go fact check it and I'm like, damn, this is true, accurate. Coach Hill from TikTok. I know y'all familiar with him. Go drop him a follow. 24/7 basketball. I love his content. Funny, He pretty much does like highlights and shit like that of players, and he puts his own commentary behind it. Dope shit.
Yep.
Go follow Coach Hill on TikTok at I believe it's 24/7 basketball. But he did a TikTok on Tobias Harris, basically saying he's averaging 10 points, 5 rebounds. Bottom line, we got to get Coach Hill on the show. We gonna find some. We gonna get Coach Hill on this show. Coach Hill, if you with it, let me know. I'll be more than happy. Me and Uncle be glad to have you on the show to talk some basketball.
Word.
But
Yes, sir.
Another thing, my man High Roller is supposed to be coming on this show pretty soon too. So shout out to Jimmy High Roller, man. So we expecting to have him on the show. A few guests. So if y'all want to see High Roller on the show, man, Dubs in the chat, man. I reached out to him. He said he with it. So that's a big deal. He's my favorite YouTuber. I've been watching High Roller for God knows how long. But Tobias Harris, Coach Hill said something interesting. He said Tobias Harris is averaging 10 points and 5 rebounds since James Harden got there. I went to go fact check it. He's actually accurate. And my question to you, Unc, is do you think at this juncture in Tobias Harris' career, is he the guy that Philadelphia needs in that locker room and on that floor night in and night out? Because I basically feel like with James Harden coming aboard, they pretty much got what they need, especially from the offensive end. I like what Maxey brings. And I think Tobias Harris is kind of in a way, you know what I'm saying, at this point now. He ain't really doing much. He's not as serviceable, not great defensively. If you ain't putting the ball in the hole, then how good to you are we? Because I got James Harden for that. He can put up 30 on any given night. So can Joel Embiid. Even though Harden may be a little bit lackluster defensively, he can make up for it with his offensive prowess. So, Tobias Harris, to be honest with you, if it was me, I would try to look for a trade partner. Try to get some type of compensation for Harris, maybe a draft pick, maybe a solid 3-and-D player. I think Tobias Harris can still average 20 points per game in this league, just not for this team. I don't think he's what they need. I really like Maxey.
It's interesting you mentioned that too, because over the last 3 seasons him being in Philadelphia, he's 19 a game. He's 19 a game. Yeah. So with that being said, what's the window for this Philadelphia team? I think James Harden can play at this level for 2, maybe 3 years tops. So that's the window to win it.
I don't
think
long.
I don't think James Harden's going to hold up that long. And the reason why I don't think he's going to hold up that long is because he doesn't take care of his body. And he's been doing that for years. That's who that guy is. And we've seen what the result is in the playoffs. He breaks down and his game suffers because of it. That's who James Harden is. With that being said, I never thought that Tobias Harris was a number 2 on a championship contender. I never thought that. I always thought that Tobias Harris was a solid number 3. And in this particular situation, I'm not looking to deal him. Play better. That's what I'm looking at. Play better. Now, you have a playmaker in James Harden. You have a distributor in James Harden. Now, it's an adjustment because he just got there, all right? And he's never played with a guy like that. And I don't think that Tobias Harris is going to hamper Maxey. I don't think he's going to hamper Thibault. I don't think he's going to hamper any of those guys. You got to play better.
Fact.
In fact, you might be the difference in us winning and losing. Because that 18 a game, that 19 a game that you've been giving us over the last 3 seasons, I'm 100% confident I heard Maxey. I'm 100% confident I heard Thibault. And Shake Milton say, I haven't seen open shots like this.
Yeah.
Before I got with James Harden. So that should be a benefit to you. And it's going to take an adjustment.
But Tobias Harris ain't a catch and shoot guy, though, Unc. He's a ball handler. He likes to create his own bucket. You get into him like Carmelo Anthony, 18 feet from the basket, isolate him, let him go to work. That's what type of player he is. So maybe Harden being there with him being so ball dominant could be affecting his game.
It also helps him because Tobias Harris is a really good transition player too.
True.
So that also helps him. And I think his transition game would be enhanced because of James Harden. And I think his one-on-one game could also be enhanced. Why? Because of the playmaker that James Harden is. That would help him out tremendously. Now, when I look at Philadelphia and I look at what they have in terms of trading, now just so you know, Tobias Harris is on the books for $78 million over the next 2 years. Ooh. Now, that's going to be hard to move. And if you're going to move him, what are you looking for? Are we looking for the future? Or are we looking for right now? Because like I just told you, I think the window on this team is it's a short window, 2-3 years tops.
I would look for
Because
a
I don't
3-and-D
think
guy. I wouldn't look for something astronomically good. Oh, I need compensation picks, great players. No, I'm looking for a guy that can play some defense, spread the flow, that's not going to be in James Harden's way. Because James Harden can carry the load.
how does
As
Harrison
much as you
Barnes
want to
now?
say, that might be perfect.
You like that one?
That might be
You wanna-
perfect.
Harrison Barnes, you like him?
A 3-and-D guy at the 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
3/4.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Get him on, get Sacramento on the phone on because I'm a
Would
firm
they
believer.
Would they
Nephew.
do that straight up?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's get them on the phone on draft night, because what draft night is, that's check day.
Yep.
Whatever you're looking for, I got it. After tonight, I'm tapped
Over
out.
it.
I don't have nothing else. So on draft night, if you called up Sacramento and go, how about you hand over Harrison Barnes, and you can have Tobias Harris, and how about I throw a 1 in there? How about you throw me a 1 in the process of that? Or how about I throw you a 1? Yeah, for taking that contract. How about I throw you a 1 in there? Or throw me a 1 just for taking that contract. I'm actually feeling that. I'm absolutely feeling that. Because I didn't like how Harrison Barnes got done. I understood it. I didn't like how he got done in Golden State.
Yeah,
they got rid of him for KD. Oh, don't get me wrong now. It was for KD. It was a better player, but they ran him out like he just wasn't that dude. When in fact, the year before that, hey, he was bad, but we can't just forget that. Well, we can't just forget the fact that we did win the NBA championship the year before that. Yeah. Let's make sure we remember that part. That's very important.
No doubt.
But to answer your question, you got to play better. I'm not ready to ship him off just yet.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to ship him off yet.
With Philly, Harrison Barnes, I think that's the missing link. Even though they got some solid defenders over there already. You know, you get a Harrison Barnes in there, a guy that can space the floor, create his own shot occasionally, guard some bigger guys along with some smaller guys. He's a versatile defender, man. I think he's one of the more underrated players in this league. I like what Harrison Barnes brings. Also an underrated rebounder as well. I like what Harrison Barnes brings, but if it was up to me, you say Tobias play better, I say get rid of him. Get you a 3-and-D guy that's not going to demand the ball, that doesn't want to isolate 18 feet from the basket. Get you a guy that's not going to complain offensively, that's going to play his role and not get in the way of Joel Embiid and James Harden. And this is a 1-2 punch league right now. That's why I'm not mad at it.
Now, I'm talking about just right now, because we're not going to be able to move them until draft night. But I'm talking about right now.
We need to capitalize. If I'm Philly, I'm capitalizing on everything. I'm doing the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, not Milwaukee Bucks. I'm doing the Bucks. I'm doing the Rams. If I can get Odell midseason, let's do it.
Oh, absolutely.
If I can get Von Miller midseason, let's do it. That's what I'm on. You know, if I can get whoever I can get, I'm getting it. I don't think it's past the trade deadline, so they really can't do nothing about it now. But you know, you got a 2 to 3 year span, like Unc say, to not only let players progress and develop, but you got a prime James Harden. You have a middle, like prime Joel Embiid. Do not waste this. Do whatever the hell you need to do in these next 2 to 3 seasons. Regardless of what you say about James Harden taking care of his body, his conditioning is bar none. Think about what type of player James Harden is and what type of energy that he exerts into basketball. A lot of it, and I never see him tired.
That's why he breaks down in the playoffs for that reason. Exactly what you just said.
I never see him tired. I never see him like James Harden is he's a heavier guy, and I don't never see this dude. Have you ever seen Harden tired?
Yeah, I was last year in the playoffs. But
he was hurt.
And why was he hurt? Because he wasn't taking care of his body. That's why he got hurt. Hamstrings don't just happen. No, it was his hamstring. His hamstring. It was his hamstring. And you know why his hamstring got strained? Because he wasn't taking care of his body. He was out of shape, which he's notorious for. Kevin McHale had him doing that.
I don't think he'll be doing that now. He's where he wants to be. James Harden, once you got it, you can always get it back. And the thing about Harden is he led the league in usage rate 3 years out of 4. Russell Westbrook was number 2 in that department. And the year Harden didn't win it, he was second and Russ was first. He handles the ball a lot.
He does a lot. Every team he's on, he is the primary ball handler. Yeah, he's absolutely. Every team that he's on, he does the maximum for them.
And he plays every game. I never see him tired. He plays 82 games every season outside of the last 2 because he's been disgruntled. But it's never been health reasons. They blamed it on his hammy again. What happened? Day 1, he's right here in Philly looking good.
Well, we all knew he wasn't hurt.
Right.
We all that wasn't. That's
what I'm saying.
We just wanted out of Brooklyn.
Right. Harden is notorious for playing every game and being healthy. So regardless what you say about him breaking down, which he does, I think more so in the playoffs is more about his play goes down. But he's never had a guy like Joel Embiid to cover the load. Never had a guy like that to say, look, you playing bad, give me this pill, and let me put up 40. Covered. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Like, so that's just what it is. But even though I love what James Harden has got going on in Philly, I think they got a legitimate shot to come out of the Eastern Conference this year with the team that they got in order right now. There's another guy in the Western Conference on the opposite side of the spectrum that has been playing nothing short of magnificent, and that's Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is averaging – what's Luka averaging? 27, 9, and 8 on 33% from 3, 73% from free throw. That can get better. And 45% from the field. I'm not mad at it considering the shots that Luka Doncic takes to be shooting 45%. That's great. And I think we have to take that into account when you're talking about a player, right? Everybody wants to jump down a player's throat because he's not shooting 48%, 49% from the field like Ja Morant. Well, most of Ja Morant's shots are coming close at the rim. Luka Doncic, on the other hand, is shooting fall-away jump shots, step-back threes, spin threes, fadeaways from 18 feet. Like, Luka takes a lot of tough shots. So for him to be a tough shot taker and a tough shot maker, most of those guys shoot anywhere from 43 to 45, 46%, a la Kobe, a la T-Mac. That's tough shot takers and makers shoot somewhere between 40, 43, and 44, 45, 46% from the field, which is great. If you're on the upper side of that, that's great. If you're on the downside of that, you should be around 44 to 45%. That's where I like you at for them tough shot takers. Like Kobe shoots 45% for his career. T-Mac around 43, 44%. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, but guys that attack the basket should shoot nothing less than 46, 47% from the field. Look at Russell Westbrook shooting 43%. Like, you shooting 43% for your career, but you attack the basket primarily. That makes no sense to me. But Luka Doncic was compared to LeBron James on a post that I saw, right? LeBron James versus Luka in their first 245 games in the league. Listen to this. Check this out. This is interesting. First 245 games. Luka's averaging 26 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 7.9 assists in his first 245 games. LeBron James is averaging 26.5 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 6.6 assists in his first 245 games played. Luka's actually averaging better numbers. Now, I don't want to say that's error-based because that was nearly 20 years ago. So it could be error-based in the league transitioning, but to be honest with you, when LeBron was doing that, he was playing in a weaker conference than Luka Doncic is, and Luka Doncic is albeit we could say LeBron James took his team to the NBA Finals by his 4th season. Luka's in his 4th season right now and is yet to accomplish that. Also to add, 121 double-doubles for Luka Doncic during that same span, only 61 for LeBron James. Nothing against LeBron, nothing against Luka. Both of these guys are talented players, but my question to you is this. Is Luka Doncic the next LeBron James?
If you just look at the numbers, yeah. If you just look at the numbers and you're not really paying a lot of attention to the game and you just going off what Luka is doing, absolutely it looks like that. The one person I have to give credit to is Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd challenged Luka. You got to get in better shape. That's number one.
On top
you
of
have
that,
to get in better.
Luka Doncic was prestigiously known as a bad defender. He's in the top of the league in defensive win shares this year. He's vastly improved on his defensive game.
I think a lot of that has to do with him being in better shape.
Yeah.
And not only him being in better shape, him being held accountable. What was the problem last year between him? Why am I drawing a blank with him, with his name? He's in Indiana right now. Played for the Celtics. Rick Carlisle.
Okay.
The problem between him and Rick Carlisle is this.
Yeah.
They were constantly butting heads. Jason Kidd wasn't having none of that. And he went to Luka in a different way. He didn't go to Luka in the 1988 way or the 1984 way. He went to Luka with the, you get yourself in better shape, you're going to be the best player in the league. You get yourself in better shape, we're going to be a much better team. You're going to be a much better distributor. You're going to be a much better playmaker. You're going to be a much better defender. And now, you know what's going to happen? They're going to be talking about you seriously as a league MVP. That's what's going to happen.
Darius said that hug from Mike at the All-Star game gave him some juice.
It might have given him. It might have. Mike might have slipped something to him. Absolutely. But on the flip side of those numbers, when I look at what Luka Doncic has done, you just said that LeBron was in a weaker East. Well, Luka is in a softer NBA. You know, we're talking about the freedom of movement era that he plays in right now. So things are different than they were now. Now, things are a little bit different than they were a year ago, 2 years ago. But James had to play in a little bit tougher league during that time. Add all of that up with the fact that he also had the weight. Nobody was really talking about Luka being the face of the NBA. We talking about LeBron James being 16 years old and being on the front cover of Sports Illustrated and being in his hometown and being the savior of this franchise, which was 10 years ago in the Eastern Conference Championship. Now they're the doormat of the league, and this guy is going to save us. Luka comes to Dallas, and there was really no expectation for Luka. I mean, even though he was a 19-year-old phenom coming from Europe, there was really no expectation for him to do what he was doing. Now, that doesn't downplay the work that he's done. We're talking about a guy who's in year 4. He's been on an All-NBA team 3 to 4 years. So that stuff matters. But I think it's completely different when you look at what I had to go through, and not only what I had to go through, what I also had to do in order to keep my team afloat and being the face of the NBA. I mean, I can look at Magic was 19-9 his first 4 years. Steve Francis was 20-6. I mean, I wouldn't put the same pressure on Steve Francis that I put on Magic when he first came in the league. Same thing with Bird. Bird was 22-11 when he first came in the league. Dominique was 24-7. I wouldn't put the same pressure on Neek that I put on Bird when he first came into the league because it was completely different. So when I look at James,
basing your argument off of the pressure that LeBron James had to endure versus the lack thereof of Luka Doncic. So that should justify why Luka's playing better up to this point at LeBron James at the same time?
Absolutely. And the reason why
I'm not buying that.
Oh my God, pressure bust pipes, my good man.
If that take was worth 99 cents, I'm not buying that. I'm not.
Pressure bust pipes, my good man.
I'm
Absolutely.
sick of people using that LeBron
no
James.
doubt about it. And not only did he not succumb to the pressure, he delivered in his first 4 years. I'm talking about taking my team to the NBA Finals. I'm talking about being a league MVP runner-up in the first 4 years. Luka hasn't even been out of the first round of the playoffs, and nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Because there's a narrative behind it. That's why. LeBron James played in a considerably bad Eastern Conference. Luka's first round exits was against Paul George and Kawhi. That's why. Jordan's first round exit was against Larry Bird.
Hey, don't start with the Jordan stuff. We ain't starting with the Jordan stuff.
That's just what it is. So it's like when you look at it, yes, you could say that without context, and it sounds bad. But when you add context, you understand. He's outmatched, and he still took him to 7 games both times. So it's like
7 games,
huh?
Wait, first of all, that Dallas team with Porzingis, if Porzingis is healthy, they beat them. So let's. I think that they beat that. Yeah, I think they beat that Clippers team if Porzingis was healthy. No doubt about that.
Went crazy.
However, yeah, absolutely. Now, with that being said, I look at James's team and the immense amount of pressure that he was under. The fact that you saw what was coming from him every year. Nobody's really putting Luka in that cat. So after year 4, when they went in the NBA championship, now the logic is this dude's going to win the NBA championship. Nobody's talking like that about Luka. Nobody. No. You know what they're talking about when they talk about Luka? They're talking about Luka is a bad man. That's it. They're talking about Luka being a league MVP,
so
not just a league MVP.
With the squad that Luka Doncic has right now, you don't think in 2007 he could have took that team to the Eastern Conference Finals and to the NBA Finals in 2007?
Absolutely not. And the reason why I say that is because of what you told me a couple of months ago. Quote, Luka Doncic is not easy to play with. So I'm trying to
True, he
imagine
don't.
Luka Doncic running around with Larry Hughes and Danielle Marshall and Ira
No,
Newbell
that's not what I'm
and
saying.
Zadrunas
No, 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 no,
Ilgauskas,
no, no, no. I'm saying Luka squad right now.
right? So the squad here in Dallas.
Take them and put them in 2007 in the Eastern Conference. Does this Dallas team go to the NBA Finals in the Eastern Conference in 2007?
I don't,
I'm not saying
that's
swap LeBron and Luka. No, because LeBron is a different breed.
you're talking about taking the whole team.
Because
You,
I
you
think
made,
this plays a factor in the fact that Luka Doncic is in the player movement era. He's got to go against stacked squads. He's not benefiting from the player movement. He had a Porzingis that was pretty much not being coached the way he should have been coached. So therefore we can't maximize his ability. So it's like it's a one-man show with Luka, filled with a bunch of role players, guys that just play their role, and these guys is rolling. Like Luka Doncic has got 38 wins in a harder conference. LeBron James won 50 games the year in 2007 in the East with a bad roster. 50 games. So it's like, and we know how I feel about his title run, his finals run. I think it was overrated, to be honest with you.
which I still have such a difficult time with that. The fact
to face
that
a 500, imagine facing a 500 team in the semis.
I understand that part.
Has that
but
ever
we're talking
happened?
about
Like outside of 2007, a 500 team in the semis.
remember that. When I think about a 500 team, I mean, they beat
the
Washington.
Nets was 500.
Right, they beat Washington in the first round,
Yes.
and they beat that Nets team, who was I think that they were maxed out anyway. I think that they had lost to the Heat the year before. That was the closest that they were going to get, and I thought that they were maxed out. That Detroit team, that was the fifth. What's that? This 2007. That's the fourth straight. I'm sorry, that's the fifth straight year they were in the Eastern Conference. They were in the Eastern Conference Championship. No Ben Wallace. All right, no Ben Wallace, but that was the fifth straight year that they were in the Eastern Conference Championship. No doubt about it, and with a washed-up Chris Webber. Webber was washed.
You act like they was going to the finals and representing the East. They was getting beat in that game, just like LeBron beat them. He wasn't a rare exception. They went to the finals, what, twice? Once?
They went to the are you talking about Detroit? They went to the finals twice in them 5 years. Yeah, they went to the finals twice. But to be the representative of the Eastern Conference and to be that good, that matters, B.
It's not
absolutely. And when I look at that Dallas team,
it's not like Bad Boys. It wasn't.
No, it's not. It's not like
because
the Bad
they
Boys.
were going to they were winning rings when Jordan stopped them. They would have went to the fourth consecutive finals. Third. That's what. Fourth consecutive finals, but third. It would have been third ring if they beat the Lakers, what they probably would have.
So 87, 88, 89, 90,
yes,
91.
Right.
Actually, yeah, it would have been their fourth straight year in the NBA Finals. I don't think that Dallas team would have beat that Detroit team, considering what that Detroit team had, and I think that James is better simply because he was more athletic. James was playing on athleticism and flight. I already told you where I'm at with Luka. Luka comes into the game today, or Luka comes into the game 3 years ago. He's already this is the ceiling. He's not that far away from it. I don't think that he's that far away from that ceiling. I think that this is where he is. So if you want to take Luka and put him on that Dallas team that he's on right now and rewind the clock and put them against Tayshaun Prince and Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton and Rasheed Wallace, good luck. With that group that he has in Dallas, with Brunson as your second guy and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Finney Smith, I do not think that they beat.
Luka played outside of his mind in both of those playoff appearances against the Clippers. Outside of his mind. And he played outside of his mind and barely lost to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Understand that. You think Tayshaun Prince finna do something? Chauncey finna do something? Who are you? They were a well-oiled machine as a team, as a whole, but I don't think they was going to be able to do nothing with Luka Doncic. And if they couldn't do nothing with LeBron, and Luka Doncic, to me, is a better version of LeBron James. Offensively. I don't know about defensively.
In
Luka,
year 4,
do you know
in,
LeBron?
in,
Do you know
in year
LeBron
4,
James is Luka Doncic is consistently known as the best 19-year-old, best 20-year-old, best 21-year-old, best 22-year-old. You know that, right?
no, I did not know that
Uh,
because I don't believe that.
People are calling Luka Doncic the best 19-year-old, 20-year-old,
Mm.
21-year-old, yes, of all time. People are saying this. This is the talk. Look what he's averaging.
I'm not saying it's ridiculous, okay? I'm not saying it's ridiculous, but I'm having a hard time believing that Luka Doncic at 22 years old was better than LeBron James.
At 22.
Considering what James had done and as far as he had done, he had taken that team
Okay, look.
in
It's
Cleveland.
similar. Let's look at it. Luka Doncic this year is 27, 9, and 8 on 33% from 3-point, 73 from the free throw, 45% from the field. LeBron James, same season, 22 years old, same age. 27, 6, and 6. Luka's stats are better. 31% from 3. Luka shot 33. 47% from the field. 47% from the field. Luka was 45%. 69% from the free throw line. Luka 73. So you can make a legitimate case that right now Luka at 22 was better than LeBron James at 22, especially offensively.
And and your logic is the fact that he plays in a better conference. That's the reason. So if you take Luka and bring him to the Eastern Conference, maybe, just maybe, he could take that group to the finals because he's his number one. There's no pressure on Luka to do that. There was pressure on James. He was the savior of that team. Not only was it the pressure on him to do it, he actually delivered. There's no pressure on Luka to do anything in Dallas. But he did deliver it now, absolutely. That was of course until he went to the NBA Finals. That was of course until he did that. Now I'm not buying the whole how many times that a 500 team you see them in the semifinals. Yo nephew, I don't care about that. We play who's in front of us. I could care less about that because nobody's saying anything. You think that anybody's gonna say anything about the Lakers when they lose if Anthony Davis ain't playing? Don't nobody care about that. I know I don't care about that. I can tell you also, you didn't care in 1991 when James Worthy got hurt and when Byron Scott got hurt. Don't nobody care about that. No, hell no, you don't care about that. The series was over
anyway when Worthy got hurt.
Even still, you don't care about that. So I don't care about that neither. I don't care about the fact that team is 500 going into the playoffs. I don't care about that. We play who's in front of us, and they beat them. Jason Kidd was still Jason Kidd. Vince Carter was still Vince Carter, right? That team was really good.
We know LeBron James is an all-time great. Second greatest player of all time, in my opinion, if you ask me. We know that. But I just feel like the trajectory that Luka Doncic is on, I'm not saying he's going to combat that, but he's definitely on schedule to compete with LeBron James, and he came in at the right age to compete with LeBron James when it comes to his longevity stats. Who's to say in 15 years we can't look back and say, damn, Luka got 36,000 points, 11,000 rebounds, 11,000 assists. That's possible. The only thing that would make that not less than likely is the fact that we seen LeBron James towards the back end of his career, year 16, 17, 18, 19, do shit that we never seen a guy in 16, 17, 18, 19 do. And that could be what hinders Luka Doncic. He may be normal. And how well will he take care of his body moving forward? Because he is a little bit heavier. He's not the most well-built athlete. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about him being non-athletic. I don't care about that. That matters nothing to me.
I don't care about that neither. Bird wasn't skipping through the lane and throwing it over the top of people, so I ain't listening to that neither.
His lack of athleticism. But, I'm just saying, like, that's what's going to concern me. 16, 17, 18, 19. 1, can he play that long? 2, if he decides to play that long, can he do it at the level that he's doing it now? Because that's pretty much offensively what LeBron James has been able to do and hold up. But great talk. I like that. Another thing is another talk I seen you discussing. You was on Pick a Side podcast. Shout out to those boys over there. They doing a great job. But I heard you guys mentioning the Joker versus Wilt Chamberlain argument. And I'm like, whoa, I want to dive into that because a guy on the Pick a Side was basically saying he felt like the Joker was a better player than Wilt Chamberlain. I'm not sure I'm opposed to that take because being a better player doesn't, or being a more skilled overall player doesn't make you the better player all the time. In some cases it can, but not in all cases. If you get my drift. Like, for instance, Kyrie, I think, is top 10 most skilled basketball players ever, arguably.
What are you producing? I don't care what your bag look like.
Right.
What are you producing? That's what I care about.
That's what I'm saying. So most skilled doesn't, but just because he's top 10 most skilled basketball player ever doesn't make him better than a guy who's less skilled than him, but is Giannis. Is Kyrie better than Giannis? No. But is he more skilled than Giannis? Yes. Is his bag deeper? Yes. So that's where we hanging up with this Joker versus Wilt Chamberlain. What's your take on this? To reiterate, you've already done it, but lighter version of it.
Well, when I think about Chamberlain, every major record in NBA history got Chamberlain name attached to it. All right, that's number one. Number two, Chamberlain being one of the most skilled basketball players. Let's remember that before Chamberlain came to the NBA, after college, he went to play for the Globetrotters.
Yeah.
Chamberlain wasn't just a sideshow. You know, Chamberlain was absolutely skilled, and he was an efficient passer. He was an efficient scorer. All the skills that Chamberlain had, they translated onto the floor. All of those things. Now, they didn't have a three-point line back then, so that's the logic with Joker. Joker shoots the three better. Joker passes better. Did you know that Joker this year, I believe he's at 15 triple-doubles, all right? 15 of them. This is year 7 for Joker. In year 8 for Chamberlain, which was around the same age, right? In year 8, Chamberlain led the league in total assists. He didn't lead the league in assists per game, in total assists. Mm-hmm. He had 30 triple-doubles that year. Not only did he have 30 triple-doubles that year, Chamberlain and Russell Westbrook are the only two guys in NBA history to have a 20-20-20 game. Chamberlain almost had 2 of them that year. He almost had 2 of them that year. He had a 27, 22, and 19 game that year, right? And on top of that, he added passing in his game like that, not because he was just wanting to shoot left-handed like Larry Bird. He did that because the people said, Chamberlain, not you can't pass, you don't pass. Right. Oh, you don't think I pass? We're going to get to the bottom of that right now. And he ends up leading the league in a total assist, which tells me if they had a three-point line back then, I'm pretty confident that Chamberlain would have started shooting the long ball. I'm pretty confident that he would have tried to shoot.
Chamberlain would have tested the waters with any type of offensive skill. I don't care. If he'd have put a 4-point line, he'd have been like, let me see if I can hit this Joker. Like there's no doubt in my mind that Wilt Chamberlain would have definitely been shooting the three. Who's to say if he would have been shooting it well, but he would have been shooting the three, definitely. But a lot of people talk about that 62 season and how it was so oversaturated statistically. That whole era in general, and I mentioned, I'm the leader of that. If guys played in today's era, what would they be? Basically, given the tools that we have today, how could they produce, right? I was looking on Twitter, and they broke down that 62 season from Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, where Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50, 25, and Bill Russell averaged like 17 and 22 and won MVP. They said in today's game, breaking down the mathematics compared to the amount of possessions that, in the 1962 season, guys were, getting up and down a lot. The pace was fast, tremendously faster. We talking about 140, 150, 160 possessions a game. That's a lot, versus today's game, which is right around 90 to 100. So we talking about an extra 40 to 50 possessions a game. It's a lot of points, a lot of rebounds being added on to that. So they broke it down and did the math and said if Wilt Chamberlain's 62 season where he averaged 50 today, with the math broken down, would be 30 and 12. Which is
now,
still
if I'm not mistaken, whoa, let me ask you this question. What's Joel Embiid doing?
30 and 12.
And how do we look at Joel Embiid?
As the best center in the league. That's
fair.
But the funny thing is Bill Russell's would be broken down to 12 points, 12 rebounds.
I think Russ would have been a little bit better than that because his game, he would have definitely changed his game. Absolutely.
No,
Yes, he would have.
this guy is not a top 10 player.
Yes, he would have. Absolutely, he would have been. No doubt about it.
He is not
Yes,
a
he
top
would have
10
been.
player, bro.
No question
This
about it.
man
I
was
don't.
a product of a system, a product of being around other great players, and could nobody else rock with them. If the competition was even, if you gave Wilt Chamberlain that squad, if you swap teams, Chamberlain's winning 11 too. Chamberlain might not lose if you swap teams. It's just the luck of the draw. Unfortunately for Wilt Chamberlain, the guy next to him had a better squad. 8 Hall of Famers.
Man.
Wilt didn't have that. If you gave Wilt that squad, we wouldn't even know who Bill Russell was. He'd been an advocate for African Americans. That's what he'd been. Speaking up on the black community. That's who he wasn't all that of a player, but he was this. That's who he was. Oh, I'm telling you. Like, Bill Russell is not one of those guys that I look at and say, you know what? He would have transitioned real good in today's game. He would have been Dre Jordan. Solid player, cool, All-NBA a couple of times, do this, point guard. You know, that's who he would have been. I'm telling you. I'm trying to keep it a beat. He's never going to be in my top 10, ever. They didn't win 11 because of that man, bro. They won.
Yes, they did. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, before Russ got on the team, Bob Cousy had 2 All-Stars on his team. Not only did he have 2 All-Stars on his team, he never got to the NBA Finals. Never got out of the Eastern Conference. He gets Russ on the team, and guess what? We're rolling. How we rolling? We steamrolling everybody.
With that logic,
we steamrolling everybody.
With that logic, the 1995 Chicago Bulls lost to the Orlando Magic in the second round of the playoffs. We got Dennis Rodman, and we steamroll everybody. We steamroll everybody.
Well, here's the difference with that. Here's the problem with that logic. The problem with that logic is, did you steamroll everybody before you got Dennis Rodman?
Yes.
That's what I thought. So that doesn't work.
Not in 93, not in 94, not in 95, or 94, not in 95. 93, yeah, we won the chip. But not in 94, not in 95.
Before you go any further, tell people why not in 94. What was going on in 94? What did they not hang a jersey up in the rafters in 94?
My man was playing ball, but we had Scotty, though.
And on top of that, in the 94-95 season, when the season started, so we talking all the way up until March, the dude on the statue dude, was he in uniform? the bald head dude that basically jumped over everybody. That dude, remember him? I'm pretty confident that, he used to play for the Bulls. I think they called him the Airman. That's what they used to call him back in the days. But he wasn't there, right? So I think that matters.
I mean, he was there when they lost to the Magic.
Oh man, you basically let me tell you what you did with him. You called him up out of bed. Hey Mike, what you doing? You'll come help us win this championship. I ain't played basketball in a year and a half. All right, I'm gonna see what I can do. What happened when he came back? Don't make it sound like Dennis was on the crew and Dennis was no, because y'all did that before Dennis showed up. That y'all absolutely did that before Dennis showed up. Add that to the fact that we're talking about a guy who I listened to. I forgot who it was who said this. Bill Russell never averaged 20 a game. Not only did he average 20 a game, he averaged 20 and 20 in the playoffs.
I'm that friend.
Not once. He did it twice. He didn't do it once. He did it twice.
It's a shorter game span. Why he couldn't do it in the season?
Including 30 and 40 in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. 30 and 40, which still stands to this day. That was 60 years ago.
It's never going to be broken because they probably had 200 possessions in that game because everybody was blowing layups. What was his field goal percentage? How many shots did he get up? Bill Russell shoots 42% from layups.
By the way, during that time, Chamberlain was an exception. Bob Pettit was shooting that. Bill Russell was shooting that. Don't get me.
I ain't trying to hear that.
I know you're not.
Wilt Chamberlain's an exception. Wilt Chamberlain's an exception, which is why he should be in the top 10. Bill Russell was league average, which is why he shouldn't be. If you put him in today's game, giving him the tools that we got today, he'd be DeAndre Jordan. He'd be Andre Drummond. That's who he'd be. Wilt Chamberlain would be Joel Embiid. That's the difference.
I'm glad you mentioned DeAndre, not DeAndre. I'm glad you mentioned Drummond because Drummond, before he left Detroit, Drummond was on pace to score 20,000 points and grab 20,000 boards.
Yeah.
The dude Chamberlain is the only other dude to do that. So I'm glad you mentioned Drummond because that's basically who that's who you telling me Russell would have been. Okay.
I mean, that's how Gabricio Bill Russell was. How was he in that era with all those possessions and he couldn't get 20,000 points? You couldn't get 20,000. Bill Russell got like 14,000 points. That's pathetic.
15,000.
Like that's pathetic. Your counterpart doubled your points. How are you contributing at such a high level when you not putting the ball in the hole? Like, we just defense and then creating turnovers and then advancing the ball up the court, the full court pass. Bill Russell used to do. Get the rebound and run the floor and, dribble and then pass to Kuzi. He lays it up. I'm helping y'all score, but I only average 4 assists, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. I'm helping y'all score, and I'm giving y'all 17 a night and 160 possessions a game. 17?
Don't leave that part out. I coach the team, too.
So now I'm LeBron James.
No. I'm actually coaching the team.
I know he was a player coach.
Let's make sure we get that correct.
LeBron is coaching the team, too. Peyton Manning coached the team, too. I ain't trying to hear that shit. That don't go towards no GOAT status. 17 and 22, I don't care about the rebounds. 22 back then is 12 today. So 17 back then is 12 today. So we giving you 12 points and 12 rebounds. Boy, you are Dre Jordan. Facts. That's just what it is. Great defensively, though. But let's get the hell up out of here, man. It was a great show. I forgot to shout out my loyals on YouTube and everybody that tunes in, everybody that watches the Sports Behavior Podcast. We appreciate you guys' support, man. Questions from the fans. If y'all got anything, better rein them in right now. I'm getting a little sleepy. I got to head to the gym. I gotta pump some steel real quick before I take my ass to bed. Horrible show. Kidding. I love it.
We love you, too.
Yeah,
we definitely love y'all, too. No doubt. Yeah.
Robert
Parrish, I think Robert Parrish is a top 15 center all time. You could definitely make that argument. He's not top 10, but I think he's a top 15 center all time. No doubt about it.
Long ass time.
He was 44 when he quit.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Robert Parrish actually played with the Bulls.
Not only did he play with the Bulls, he was on that Bulls team that won it.
Yeah.
He was on that team in '97 that won the championship. He was on that crew.
He been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm. He was 44 when he quit.
Bill
yes,
Russell
he was.
Catching all the smoke. Damn right, because I think he's the most overrated superstar in NBA history. That's just how I feel. I feel like Bill Russell is immensely overrated. I mean, when I know the game, I can watch the game. I watch Bill Russell play. He's not popping off my screen. He's a guy that benefited from an era where there weren't too many like him. Now, you could say the same about other people, but I'm not dismissing that entire era. It's just him. There were guys. Elgin Baylor was a dog. It was Bob Cousy had handles you haven't seen before at that time. It was
any of the hard work.
It was guys that was dogs back then that could really play. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like Russell's not one of them. I don't think he's very good as a basketball player, defender, rebounder, of course. Putting the ball in the hole, which is the most important aspect. You know me, it's all about scoring. Are Jokic and Embiid better than Pat Ewing?
Yes, kid.
Yeah, I would take Joker and Embiid over Pat. What you think, Unc?
Hold on for 1 second. I'm getting a bad feed in here real quick. Hold on for 1 second.
All right.
Hang on. I'll be right back. I'm getting a bad feed in here. Give me a second. Yep. Sorry. Yep, my fault.
That's a very solid team. Who do you got winning the NBA championship this year? Hopefully my Bulls, man. Hopefully Chicago.
You mean the same Bulls that lost tonight and they 0-12 against teams and they lost again. They 0-12 against teams in the top 3 in the league. 0-12.
Yeah,
Gabricio.
No, we not. We beat the Nets.
Get these dudes up out of here. They trash.
0-12. We beat the Nets, who's at the top of the league. We beat
0-12.
hear that shit.
I'm just putting that on your mind. These dudes trash.
I ain't trying to hear that. Shit. Where do you rank Robert Parrish? Bill Russell be catching all the smoke, no doubt. Harden, top 5 shooting guard of all time? Yes. Did Bill Walton deserve top 75 over Dwight? Hell no. I think he's another one that's overrated. I kicked his ass out the Hall of Fame when I was doing that series. Oh yeah,
I do remember you.
he was one of
I
the
do
first
remember you saying
ones.
that. I do remember
He was
you.
one of
You
the
was like,
first ones.
you got to
Get him
get your
out the
bag,
Hall of
pack your
Fame.
bag
I
up.
might have to bring that
But
back.
I'm a Bill Walton fan because it's the
Yeah.
basketball Hall of Fame, man. He had he been able to hold up, he would have been something different. He
Yeah.
absolutely would have been something different, no doubt about
I
that.
just
I'm
when it
having a
comes to
difficult
that,
time.
when it
I'm
comes to
just
that,
having a
what you
difficult
said,
time.
basketball Hall of Fame, I get it, but I feel
Yeah,
like that should be looked at according to the level that you played at. Like if you was a great collegiate player, but you was ass in the league, you shouldn't make the Hall of Fame.
that's what I was going to ask you. I'm glad you mentioned that. Should we have like the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Should we have a Pro Basketball Hall of Fame?
Yes, yes. No, not pro basketball, pro in the NBA Hall of Fame because
So not just
the Pro Football Hall of Fame is only NFL. That's it. There's no collegiate players in the Hall of Fame. They have their own Hall of Fame.
that's what I'm
The
talking about.
Pro Football Hall of Fame is just NFL. Naismith needs to be just NBA because it's confusing, and I think it would be more value to be in the Hall of Fame because there's a lot of guys. The Pro Football Hall of Fame only got like 200 some people, and the
242 guys, I
and
believe.
the Football Hall of Fame has 53-man roster. Basketball only got 15 guys. How is there more basketball guys in the Hall of Fame than it is football guys? That's because when you look at them football guys in the Hall of Fame, it's hard to find guys that really don't deserve it. It's hard. That's part of why I slowed the series down because it was getting hard to find football guys that didn't deserve to make it, considering what they did in their eras. Basketball's a whole heap of them. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole heap of them. But let's see. One more and we got out of here. He got 6,000 career points. No way. Bill Russell ain't got 6,000 career points.
Yeah, that's it. He got like 6,600 points. That's it.
Six?
hmm
No.
Yeah, he only got like 60. He only got like 6,600 points. Bill Russell, I'm not Bill Russell. I'm sorry. Bill Walton played
Oh,
his entire
Walton?
career.
Okay, Walton got
Yeah, Bill
6,000.
Walton. No, not Bill Russell. No.
Oh, I was
Not
about. I
Bill Russell.
know
No,
Bill
not
Russell got at least like 15, 14,
not-
15,000. Bill Walton
Bill
only got
Walton played it.
6,000.
He played he played a
Harden scored that in
combined.
2 years.
He played a combined in all the years he played in the NBA. All his games combined only add up to like 5 years.
Oh, my knee. MVP,
Yeah,
overrated. Only player to win
yeah.
it by playing like 40 games.
Played 51 games that year.
He's just so overrated, bro. Like, Bill Walton's overrated. Let's get the hell up out of here, though. It was a great show. Shout out to the loyals over there on YouTube. If you familiar, unfamiliar, man, drop us a follow over there on YouTube. Y'all already know how we rocking. Sports Behavior Podcast here every Friday. Tuesdays to be coming back. You know, give me some time. You know, I need to recuperate. I need to get my mental right. But we going to be here every Friday, 8 p.m. Like I told you. We got some future guests coming on the show. We're going to try to reach out to Coach Hill, see if you want to join. Jimmy High Roller already committed, so we just got to figure out a date for Jimmy High Roller to be on the show, so expect that. That's going to be a good one. But, yeah, until then, man, you already know what we doing. You know, take us home.
Take it light, but take it.
W's in the chat if you enjoyed yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for having us.